G'day guys, if you don't want to snap your lower ball joint, like and subscribe. Let's try and hit 7,000 subscribers. Alright, g'day guys, Matt Preston Built Prado, welcome back to another video. Now this video is a bit sad, but I thought I'd share my story. This is how I lost $1,500 in 24 hours. So let's get right into it. It's all about the lower ball joints. Okay, so it's pretty self-explanatory, but apparently if you haven't seen it on Instagram, it's everywhere. But pretty much last week, Wednesday, this front left lower ball joint collapsed. Now, I've had so many comments that post is crazy, but pretty much what's happened is, this is an eBay lower ball joint and it has collapsed quite soon. Now, if you may remember, last year I broke the right side lower ball joint, and to be fair, like that was an eBay one, but I was taking a corner very fast at 70 k's an hour, and last sort of that sort of kind of was like a legit reason. Was this, I was literally taking corner at walking speed and literally had to wait for some pedestrians to cross the road, so I was going really slow, and then literally all of a sudden, kaplunk, it just dropped. And you know, it's not the greatest feeling being in the cab, but luckily it was that slow that it literally just sort of landed straight all the way. The car went straight on this tyre here, and this is the same tyre from the crash, which does have a bit like a cut all the way through. Now these tyres luckily are getting replaced shortly, but that did do some damage to the tyre. Now in terms of the body, there's actually no damage, which is a huge upside obviously. It's all metal inside there essentially, so when the tyre hits, it just lands on metal and it doesn't break any plastic. Now this here, you're probably thinking, Matt, that's a cool marble, why are you showing me that? Well, this is actually from the lower ball joint that snapped. Now it was about 88 bucks I think for two off eBay, and pretty much this came out of one of the lower ball joints. Now when the police rocked up, there was these little guys everywhere, and pretty much police officer picked one up and actually handed it to me and was like, oh, this is yours, and I've kept it to this day. It was absolutely covered in oil, now it's clean as, and it just looks like a marble. But these, I guess, is what's inside as one of the bearings, and obviously it's just a weak ball joint and it collapsed early. Now, what have I learned from this experience? Never, ever, ever buy eBay structural components for cars. Now, I know it's pretty obvious to all you guys, but I'm pretty stingy and I like to try and do the budget version of most things. But after speaking to some mechanics and stuff, they're all saying, you know, in terms of your spotties and your awning, you know, you can go sort of eBay cheap spec, but when it comes to your parts, suspension, steering, you really want high quality. And it's obvious, it's as obvious as it sounds, but I just didn't really understand that quite. So, but now I've learned the hard way, okay? So that's why I'm pretty much never gonna go non-genuine parts again for those sort of things. Now it is slightly scary. This one is a Protex, so these ones are about $250, all Australian made, I think 20,000 kilometer warranty. So the mechanics said they're very good, they haven't had any issues with them, so we'll see how we go. Now what is terrifying is the one on the driver's side right now is still an eBay ball joint, okay? So the one on that side is worth about 40 bucks, which is slightly terrifying talking about it now. But pretty much for every single second week, I'm going to be checking that ball joint. So I'm essentially just going to check it non-stop. And then the second there's the slightest play in it, that's getting switched over. So I've learned from my mistake, going to stay hot on it, and hopefully with these better ones in here, you know, I won't have to check them every fortnight. I can check them, you know, maybe every third month or something like that, because you shouldn't really be having to check them that much. But to be fair, with 35s and, you know, now a steel bar on the front, winch coming soon, I am already asking a lot of these ball joints, you know, and when the tent's on the roof, there is a bit of weight. So these ones are probably getting overworked, but you know, when the new tyres come, which will be a 33-inch tyre and an alloy rim, it's all going to be a bit lighter, which will sort of, you know, help out in that situation as well. Okay, so you've probably already seen some of these photos on Instagram, but this is seconds after the accident happened. Now you can see here are these little ball joints, the little ball bearings, sorry, you can see them rolling around there. So there's just two there, there's a few more lying around, and you can see, I haven't even talked about it yet, but the CV did unfortunately pop out, which is such a shame because that was only like a year old. And obviously, unlike last time I did the ball joint where that just failed and that's it, the CV had to pop out this time, which is actually quite funny because the speed I was doing in the other crash was 70 k's an hour and it was quite a full-on thing. Whereas this time I was doing slower than walking speed and it popped out, which is kind of funny. But that's unfortunately what's happened to me, which obviously means I have to replace that as well. So you can see in there, that doesn't look great. If we slide over, that's a really good photo there because you really get an understanding of what's gone. So obviously that's the lower ball joint there, and that's completely snapped off here. All that weight is in the sidewall, and the tow truck guy also said, good thing I had some good tires because all the weight of the car was borderline pushing on that sidewall, as you can see in that photo there. So, you know, shout out to Coopers for being a strong triple sidewall tire because they were being used for sure in that scenario. But you get a rough idea what it's like. And yeah, you can see in this photo here, there's at least 4 of those little ball things, so they're everywhere. And then that's where I crashed. I decided to crash right in the middle of the intersection, right next to the Moby petrol station, which is nice. Oh, and there's the police for you. Yeah, so that's the photo you probably all saw.
You want to pull it? Yeah. This is how you recover a Prado with a broken
Broken ball joint.
Tow trucks don't come. Hopefully we can get this out. It wasn't vicious, but I like it. Yeah, no.
I mean, this video here just tried to essentially winch it out, and you'll see very quickly it didn't go to plan at all because the tires started to grab on the body, and then right here near the end it just shows it, but it grabs the mud terrain tire and it kind of starts to lift the whole body up, and we stopped it straight away because I just didn't want it to lift the car up, and you know that would really damage it. Shout out to all the fellas that came and helped out on that night. That was awesome. This is one of the mate's dads, and he's got a trolley jack and we're trying to winch while trolley jacking it off, but the trolley jack actually ended up digging into the asphalt, like putting a hole in the road, which was crazy. So that didn't actually work, which is really surprising. I really thought that would work. And then yeah, got it up the ramp, was all safe after that sort of thing. And you can see there it looks a bit wonky, but it was fine. So all up, what's the cost? What's the consequence for using theoretically a $40 lower ball joint that, you know, could easily be $450 if you get a genuine one? Well, I tell you what, it's very expensive. So I pretty much broke down, if you live in Adelaide you know exactly where we are, but I broke down South Plympton. I live in Blackwood, so you know, about 20 minutes give or take. So, and it was also about 8:30, so it's kind of like prime, well not prime, but it was maybe about 6ish I broke down. It was about traffic time. But I sat there for 3.5 hours and then essentially got a tow truck, and it was $450, which was, you know, it's actually pretty good. I've heard a few other quotes, it was actually pretty cheap, but yeah, $450. So $450 to get from there to the mechanic, and then the mechanic quoted originally about $1,000 to $1,200 to replace the CV and the lower ball joint. Now, theoretically, I could have just done both of those myself with a mate and saved a bit of money, but this happened like on a Wednesday, and I kind of just wanted the car as soon as possible, and you know, wanted it to be done properly, and they can look over anything else that needs to be replaced. So it just worked out better that way. And yeah, so pretty much got it back, you know, so about $1,500 later, I've got a, you know, a $250 ball joint in. The CV is just it's another like really good brand, like it's not the top, but it's not crap, so that will be a really good CV. And you know, the labor as well. Now, you know, that might not be too bad to you guys, but you know, $1,500 out of nowhere, which, you know, could be $300 instead if you just did the ball joint by yourself. So I guess the take-home message from here is check your lower ball joints, please. On behalf of me as a Prado 90 series owner, go home, check your ball joints right now. I've had enough of seeing them break. I've done 2 already in this car, and both of them have been in the last year, which is just crazy. And that's the main comment you guys were saying. You're like, far out, you just did your ball joints, and like, yep, you're correct. So take-home message, get good quality ball joints. For me, for your sake, for everyone's sake, okay? These cars, it's the only weakness, that's the major flaw of them, which is such a, you know, such a shame, because they're awesome off-road. All the mechanics are like, yeah, these cars are great, they're awesome, and you know, that's their downfall. That's just what they're known for. And as you can see here, I've got cheap ones and they've failed. So you pay what you get for. A lot of good brands people were messaging me about. There's a brand, I think it's called 555, and they're like a really good high quality brand. And there's also these little, you can get these little attachments that go under the ball joint, and they go through those 4 studs up into the lower control arm, and they catch the ball joint when it falls, so it kind of like prevents it from falling any further, so you can stop at least, still move the car around, not get a tow truck straight away. So that is another option, but they're not really licensed here, kind of like you just got to buy them online from overseas sort of thing. I could potentially do that if I want to do that, but really, if you get really good quality ball joints, they should be fine. And just check them every, you know, a few times a year. Okay guys, well that's my rant. The reason I make these videos is I just don't want anyone else to go through what I'm going through. And I'm trying to help you as much as possible, because it does suck. You know, this is my work car, so I had to lose the car for a day. It's just not convenient at all. And obviously you don't want to break down in the first place. But please take home this message. Go home, check your lower ball joints for me. Make sure they're good, okay? Otherwise you're just going to write off your car. So that's all I can take home from this message. And you know, it's obvious to most of you guys. I'm sure all you guys have genuine lower ball joints and you're sweet. But just for that 10% that are like me and they're like, oh, eBay, boom, 80 bucks, let's go. No, no, no. Run away as fast as you can, okay? I've learned my mistakes. Watch this video, learn from me. So that's my little rant. It's all good now, but that one is a ticking time bomb. So I'm gonna monitor that like crazy. Hope you can learn something from this video. And yeah, all that's holding your car up from braking is this, theoretically. So watch out on the road, be safe, like and subscribe. Catch you guys next time on Built Prado. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. It takes 2 seconds. Hit the subscribe button and I'll do more videos every Friday, 5 PM. See you then.